So this week's Ask Dr. Nikki comes from fake name Sally. So I'll read her question is, Dear Dr. Nikki, I've really been enjoying lockdown with my boyfriend and spending more time together. I know there are things he also enjoys about it, but really misses going out, especially drinking with the boys. But I'm worried as soon as lockdown is lifted, he will go back to his old ways, and I feel we were not in the best place before this all started. What do I do? I think this is a really great one, as I do with all my Ask Dr. Nikki's. Not my answers necessarily, but your questions. But my answers are still good too, right? But I've been hearing this a lot from people because they have been really enjoying the time that they get to spend with their other half. And maybe before the pandemic hit, they lived these lives that were very busy and there was a lot of distractions. And all of a sudden, they're able to really focus on each other and place each other as a priority. Which I think we really need to learn from this, because I think when we have a look at, for some people, the level of happiness and fulfillment during a pandemic, within our relationships, that for a lot of people, they've found that connection again because they're able to focus on each other. And that's where the learning is that maybe we should be doing more of this, or should have been doing more of this before a pandemic, to be able to really get that connection with our partner and that fulfillment in our relationships. So for Sally in particular, I think you really need to have a conversation with your boyfriend. Does he know that this is how you are feeling? Does he know that there is this anxiety about what will happen when lockdown gets lifted and he can go out drinking with the boys again? It's really important to try and find compromises, as it is with most relationship issues. It's not fair to say that you shouldn't be drinking with the boys anymore because you particularly like having him at home, but there needs to be that balance where that there can be that time with the boys and catching up with friends, but that you're also able to have more time than you did before the pandemic hit, where you're able to be a couple and be together and be present with each other. If there has been a real benefit in your relationship now in comparison to when the pandemic started, then it might be really useful as well to point that out and be able to say things like, isn't it great we do seem a lot more connected? Isn't it great we do feel a lot more closer, don't we? Or we're really, I'll even say from your personal point of view, I'm really enjoying the time with you. I'm really enjoying spending more time connecting with you. I'm really enjoying having more time with you, which is what a lot of people are facing. So it's about finding that balancing act, but also having that conversation before the lockdown gets lifted. We don't know when that's going to be. We don't know time frames. There's no one that can tell us when that is. But if you're feeling a bit angsty now about what's going to happen afterwards, why not have that conversation? It might take you some time and some conversations over and over again to find out what that balance is, or make that person see your point of view. So I think you always need to be open and honest with somebody about what's on your mind and how you're feeling. What happens often sometimes when we tend to ignore those voices in our head that say, oh, I'm worried about this, or I'm worried how this is going to happen, is we kind of bury it down into the pit of our stomach, but it's still there. It doesn't go away. And then when our partner says something, it might trigger what that issue is about. So say that this is about potentially fear of rejection, that when your partner goes out drinking with the boys, you tend to feel a little bit more rejected because he's choosing the boys over you. Which is not necessarily the case. I'm just saying this is how you might perceive it. So there is that fear of rejection that's in the pit of your stomach. It might just take him to say one thing and it triggers that for you, and it goes down to that issue instead of actually looking at it, what it is he's saying, what it is he's doing at that point in time. So that's why it's really important to address things now that you're experiencing and you're feeling, so that when lockdown is lifted, you're able to find that balance in your relationship where you get that fulfillment and he also gets his social drinking time with his buddies. So Sally, I hope that helps. And if you have an Ask Dr. Nikki that you want answered, make sure that you head over to my Facebook page and you can ask me anything. Bye.